That one's so slow. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Don't sound like a good old
wow. I can hear you, but the video's dragging.
Oh.
Everybody's froze. Is everybody in here?
Yeah, I'm here. I see you.
Yeah.
See John.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Weird. Maybe it's my slow internet. Might be that. Okay. All right. All right. That's it. I've got it. Yay! All right. All right, y'all. Ready to do this?
Yes, sir.
Technical difficulties have been overcome. I'm a bad MF. All right, this is the Be Real with D Real Super Zoom live discussion with I Ain't Saying, I'm Just Saying with Theo B, the back of the bus squad, and my man Kaizoku Sleven. Like I was saying before I was a total idiot and messed everything up, tell me about your initial introduction to Black Panther.
Start over again. It was the initial.
Yep.
Well, no, I didn't go first last time. Josh went first. Go ahead, Josh. My bad.
Yeah, no, I think last time I said, I think I'm the only one here who got introduced by the movie. And then I kind of did a little bit more research after the movie, but that was my introduction.
Mine was the issue where he took on the Fantastic Four. That was my initial introduction into him. And yeah, that was crazy. One dude taking on the whole entire Fantastic Four.
So for me, it's kind of like a two-parter. I known who Black Panther was from comics. First comic I got was from a yard sale, right? I got like 3 or 4 of them. It was a Moon Knight comic. It was Spider-Man, and it was what was it? I believe it was an X-Men comic with Black Panther in it. And so I knew who the character was. And by the time I really started buying comics myself, around the time of Bendis's run on Avengers or New Avengers after Decimation, House of M, all of that, right? That's when I really started buying them myself and getting on to them. By the time that rolled around, that's when the animated cartoon, right? The second Avengers cartoon that they put out almost a decade ago more. The first time they actually got him on the screen. So that's where my interest peaked. You know what I'm saying? That's where I really wanted to start reading Black Panther comics and finding out who the character was. So I would probably say the animated cartoon, like the Ultimate Avengers, that one where they finally unveiled Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury for the first time. That was probably my true introduction to Wakanda and Black Panther and T'Challa, you know what I'm saying, the character overall. So I would say that's my true introduction. I seen him in the comics before that, but it was more so the movie, the animated movie that did it for me.
So just to piggyback off of that, I would say my experience is similar. When I was, I got introduced to comics through my older cousin who used to always give me his hand-me-downs. But one day he just decided to give me a whole bunch of like a 3 set of comic books of Black characters that I didn't know of. And I knew of Black Panther through the Avengers comics, but I didn't know deeply anything about him like that. So my favorite character was Spider-Man. So he gave me a book, a Spawn comic book, and then he gave me a Shadowhawk book, and then he gave me one of Christopher Priest's runs. And that's when I fully got introduced to Black Panther. And then I started reading about him. And then he became one of my top 5 best comic characters that I ever loved. And then after that, just pretty much trying to keep up as much comics as I can. And that's about it for me.
Okay. Wow. All right. My introduction to the Black Panther was kind of twofold. I was already I started collecting Avengers comics in like, and I'll be dating myself, in the 70s. And so I got introduced to the Avengers from the George Perez run on Avengers. And during the George Perez run, I would see this character. Who's that guy? Black Panther. And then in one of the issues, he had his mask off and he was like schooling Beast. I guess they were like looking at Avengers files and he was trying to like bring him up to speed or whatever. And I'm like, that dude's black, you know? And so I'm like, I need to find more comic books about this guy. And that took me back to Jungle Action. And then I collected that whole run of Jungle Action. Then I got the Jack Kirby run on Black Panther. And then I went all the way back and got Fantastic Four 52 and 53, and then Avengers 52. And by that time, I was hooked. And that was my introduction. So what were your initial feelings about the first Black Panther movie? I mean, how did it make you feel? And I would like to take point on this one because my introduction to the Black Panther movie was actually a movie premiere that we did here in Anchorage, and I ended up collaborating with the Sankofa Dance Crew, which is like an African dance group here, and they were in the theater. We had actually rented out the whole theater, and we had the dance group, and they brought their drums, and there were little kids dancing, and it was like a whole vibe, you know what I'm saying? And the community had tapped me because they know how I feel about Black Panther, and they was like, before the movie starts, will you come up and do like some Black Panther 101 and kind of give us an introduction to the character? And so I was really excited about being able to do that. So for me, that Black Panther movie was just a colossal Black experience on the screen and in the theater. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Strange to have something like that occur in Alaska, huh?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess I'll go next. My first experience with the Black Panther movie, I also went to a pre-screening. Luckily, my lady at the time, she was working for Washington Post, so she got 2 tickets to see a pre-screening of Black Panther. And we were able to see it then, I think like a week before it actually got into theaters. And we loved it. Like I saw it 3 times. And the second time I saw it by myself. And just to rewatch it, just to see what it was like for real. And then the third time, we hosted a screening ourselves so that people can come out and see it. And that was like before it became like a trend or whatever. We did it on like on February 18th of 2018, I believe. And that was a whole event itself. Like people were just like livid about Black Panther and all its aspects. Yeah, that was pretty much my experience with it. But not to give away too far, I didn't going down the line watching the movie over and over again. It was a good movie, but it wasn't a great movie to me. But I'll just leave it right there.
I'll go. In terms of the first movie, I was the one that went to go see it a million times, and I definitely I mean I've watched all your videos, so I know where Kaizoku is coming from, and I agree on a lot of the points. Being in that moment though, it was such an aberration to what you typically see from large Hollywood productions. You know what I mean? Like it was so atypical. The cast was black, the executive producer was black, the director was black. It was the star-studded cast. Forrest Whitaker, Angela Bassett, Chadwick Boseman, you know what I'm saying? Winston Duke, Letitia Wright, Daniel Kaluuya, Lupita Nyong'o. It was just overflowed with star power. So like from and have that into something, it was like marrying two parts of my personality together, right? Over here, I had all my geekdom, right? I had my Marvel MCU stuff, my Star Wars, any anime or anything like that over here, and then I got my blackness, right? And for so long, it's like that. You see fantasy written, you see sci-fi, and it's not a lot of space in there for black people or blackness. And here you are with the perfect marriage of both of those things. So from that standpoint, I don't even think I was looking at it critically at that point because it was just so atypical. I saw it 3 times before I watched it with my family. When I went to go see it with my family, we saw it at one of the bigger movie theaters out here in Columbus. And man, again, I had already seen it 3 times by the time we went to go see it here in Columbus. And when I tell you the theater was just pumping with Wakanda energy, people wearing dashikis, they dressing up in the costumes, like it was just nuts. It's nuts. Like Marvel truly does, and they talk about it to a certain degree. I mean, they have to. It's the only film that got nominated for Best Picture. But they really do not do Black Panther the way that they should.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is no solo MCU film that put up numbers like Black Panther. None. The only films that compete are large superhero team up, Civil War, Endgame, Infinity War, those type of movies that have years of narrative arc built into it. And then also you have hundreds of stars littered throughout the cast. This movie had one lead. This movie wasn't an origin story, but it was isolated to T'Challa and Wakanda mostly. $1.3 billion. $1.3 billion. Yep. $1.3 billion. That's crazy. So like I think I was just kind of in awe of the prestige around that, man. That was huge. It was definitely a moment that I just don't think it definitely won't be recaptured by the sequel, but I think they were going to have difficulty recapturing that moment in general, just because it was so new.
I'll go next. I tell you mine, man, and that's a lot, Marcus. Like I think all of us, to a degree, those stories are going to be similar in that regard. It's the immediate impact. Mine was a happy bowl of mixed emotions, honestly speaking, because I was excited, and that excitement comes from the fact that I've always wanted my own. Like Daryl said he told on himself. I used to wear underoos back in the day. When they talk about underoos or underwear, something super new in there was no Falcon. You know what I'm saying? There was no me. I remember when LL Cool J and Wesley Snipes were talking about bringing this character to the screen, and I had to deal with the Tobey Maguire, and I had to deal with the Blade, and I had to deal with. I've always wanted me. Always wanted me. My first black action figure, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know if it was Lieutenant Uhura or the Falcon, made by the same toy company. I can't tell you, but I know who it was. So when the movie came out, I was happy. Now I got the Blu-ray with the 2-pack and the DVD, the soft copy and everything. I done downloaded the soft copy to Movies Anywhere and everything like that, so I can see the movie whenever I want to. So I'm excited for it. Everybody, just like y'all said, I'm pretty sure Josh is gonna wind up saying the same thing at some point in time. Seeing people come together, dressed and everything like that to go see the movie. And I saw the movie, and I'm not gonna sit up here and say I didn't like it. The Njoku thing off the rip did mess with me. I did kind of smirk when they said Njoku. So
Who?
I did kind of smirk a little bit, but it was like it was a happy mixture. I don't want to say, like as Marcus alluded to, I didn't go with a critical eye, but it's one of those things where I couldn't turn it off either because I've been heavily invested in this character for quite some time. I wanted to see the liberties, if we were going to take liberties, work out in a good way. Like, we didn't kill off Loki, we kept Loki around. Okay, well, don't kill off Eric Killmonger. Let's not make him a bad guy. Let's give him the redemption arc. Let's make him a good guy. And then as I was talking to Kaizo and Darryl earlier, my local community, Tallahassee, after the movie, that was it. Quite a few people said that looked like us, said they went to the movie and didn't get anything from it. And I was like, how did you go to a movie that really has too many real life symbolism? Like, yes, there's a heavy dose of fiction in there, but there's also a lot of reality-based stuff in there. How you go and not come away with it? So when I finally, me and a co-worker, nieces, he's passed away. God bless his soul. We worked together at this pawn shop, and he knew how much of a diehard Black Panther fan I was. And he had got his niece and nephew figures from the initial wave. He got me the Titan version of Killmonger. And I looked at it, I was like, oh man, Black Panther. I look, wait, got leopard prints on his Killmonger. Right after that, I immediately went to every toy store and rounded up every Black Panther action figure I could get. So when y'all see that huge, his name is Keith, God, like I said, God rest his soul. When y'all see the huge collection of Black action figures, Black Panther action figures, that dude started me on that trail. And so it's just one of them things where, like I said, I love it. I love what it represents for our people. Love for one another. If we're going off the comics when they written like they're supposed to be, but the love for one another, a love for a brother and sister, a love between a Black man and a Black woman, a Black man is being king and everything like that. I'm still down for that. Still down for that. Just wish it would have worked out differently, if I can say that. But yeah, that's me. I'm still excited about Black Panther as a hero, so that's never gonna change.
I think with my introduction to it, obviously I don't have the comic book background so much, but I saw it after, the whole social media wave, obviously the trend behind it and everything like that. So I decided to go see it with a couple friends, loved every second of it because I don't have the expectations going into it from the comic books. But I just love the colors, you know what I mean? The hip hop that they embraced so much, Kendrick Lamar doing the soundtrack. I just loved everything about it for the most part. Like it was the first time that I seen a Black cast with a huge budget. I just loved everything from the first time I saw it. Then I went and seen it a second time with my family as well. And seeing, like my nephew, who at the time was probably about 5-6 years old, who was enamored with it as well. And seeing a Black character for the first time, because I know he loved Spider-Man, he loved like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that growing up. So like for him to actually be getting a chance to see a Black superhero, things like that was really what solidified Black Panther for me when I saw it the second time and seeing it with my family. And then I went and seen it probably another 2-3 times after that. So, and I've seen it plenty of times since then, but loved the movie from, the first time I saw it because I didn't necessarily have those expectations going in, but I can definitely understand what y'all are coming from with that aspect of it.
Okay. First segue. This has prompted me to ask an additional question outside of what my normal questions are. Okay. Since we all have varying degrees of experience and varying degrees of introduction when it comes to Black Panther. I know this is probably an obvious question, but how necessary is T'Challa in a cinematic universe? Go for it.
So okay. When Kevin Feige came out and said that they weren't going to recast T'Challa, I didn't immediately hop on and be like, all right, yeah, no, we gotta band together. We gotta start a movement, right? That just wasn't the reaction. I was confused as to why. And this is before I even started thinking anything racially or what were the deeper implications representation wise. Just logically, I'm thinking why, right? Because we're talking about, let's just boil it down to brass tacks. We're talking about a superhero movie here. Superhero movies don't work without your main superhero being somebody that people want to go see. It just doesn't work out any other way. Unless the guy or the woman or whoever in the center of the story is somebody that people want to show up for, doesn't really work. So you had
comics.
it don't work. So you got a movie where the main character T'Challa, $1.3 billion, right? Second movie, if you want to get anything near that, logically would suggest you gotta have that guy. That's what the story was built around. That's what the movie was built around. I understand what it's doing. People are trying to drive a narrative, but I don't really understand the logic behind, oh, well, the story was about Wakanda. I just didn't get that. We didn't go anywhere. We saw the Jabari at the Challenge Day. We saw them briefly when T'Challa was being brought back to life or being preserved or whatever. But they didn't explore the tribe. We didn't see anything about them. We didn't see anything about the Boulder tribe. We didn't see anything. We saw very isolated parts of Wakanda that were centered around T'Challa and his story. So in terms of moving forward franchise-wise, I just don't see it. It's never been done like that before either. And the fact that they're willing to risk financial or risk revenue here with this, it doesn't feel right. It's not logical. It don't add up. And again, before we even start getting into the nitty gritty of what's real, right? What's in the world and why some of this stuff is happening like this. So I think he's essential to a film franchise. It just doesn't work any other way. There's no other formula to do it. It's been tried, right? We try. What are some of the things they do when they don't have the lead actor? But the thing is, even when they go off and they'll pass the mantle to somebody else, or they'll do like a prequel where they give you the backstory with older characters. That's usually after the franchise is established. We talking about one movie and about 15 minutes worth of cameos.
Even when they did Gotham, which was about Commissioner Gordon, Bruce Wayne was still in it.
Exactly.
Well, Bruce Wayne showed up in Doom Patrol. Or not Doom Patrol, in Titans.
Suicide
he showed
Squad
up in
too.
Titans.
Suicide Squad. See, we get ready to get started, ain't we?
I think me.
We're not gonna make it through the questions, are we?
I think me for mine, it was, when the initial statement came out, I was like Marcus. I was like, wait, what? What are we doing? Me for mine, it took more of, as Marcus said, before we dive into anything else, me for mine, it took on a historical precedent. Because I was like, we've never done this before. I know an actor questionably committed suicide. and he played an iconic role. The other dude that came after him, paralyzed in a horseback riding, situation, we recast it. One dude, it's a toss-up between, to me, who played the Joker the best, depending on, and if we ain't even got to have that conversation because it's 3 Jokers. 2. One of them dead. But anyway, with them 2, Heath Ledger, historically speaking, and this was it for me. The people who made the suggestion, I'm not talking about Marvel, I'm talking about like movie critics and stuff like that, who co-signed on it. They had never suggested anything like this before. Even those who are those of us that look like us that are fans, we've never said this about anybody else's superhero or supervillain, but ours, I was like, wait, this is the first one. This is the first one. And I know if Daryl ain't seen it, I know Kaizo done seen it. It's a video out there right now talking about who's the strongest sidekicks in the MCU. They mentioning Shuri, War Machine, and Sam Wilson.
You lying. You lying.
I hate when they do that.
Y'all know
Facts.
I hate when they try to make Falcon a side
y'all
character, yo.
Man, come on, man. Y'all know, because y'all know what I know. Those are sidekicks. But the fact that somebody else is acknowledging that, man, y'all know I'm gonna send y'all the link. Y'all know
conventional definition of a sidekick. Okay, when you say sidekick, you are already placing that individual in a lesser position. You are relegating them to being less than the hero that they are working with. Shuri's not a sidekick, and Falcon's not a sidekick. As much as I want him to be a sidekick,
but watch
he's
this.
not a sidekick.
This is why they saying it. Aside from T'Challa, everybody else came on board in somebody else's comic.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say.
Fantastic Four. But they introduced everybody else, even Shuri. The way Reginald Hudlin introduced her, he introduced her as a, watch this, I won't say side character. What I would say is a world building character when it came to T'Challa. Same thing with Sam Wilson, same thing with James Rhodes. I understand why he said it. I do. But they at large are saying it, so they know that the character T'Challa is that dude. But here what we're gonna say. It's disrespectful. Never mind. Yep, I didn't talk too much. Never mind.
I get ready to jump in with both feet. Okay. We talking about our feelings. We did our feelings after seeing it, and yeah, y'all went hard. But now here we go with a little bit of emotion. What was your feelings on hearing Chadwick pass?
I'll take point on that. Obviously, he became one of my favorite actors as of late, right? So hearing that he passed was obviously heartbreaking for most of us because we all loved him in all his roles, aside from playing T'Challa. This is the problem that people don't understand, is that this man is an actor first, right? And he has a role to play. Again, he has a role to play. He's an actor. That's what he does. So when I first heard that he passed, of course, I felt really bad for his family and for the fact that we won't be able to see this man in the world again, right? But when they introduced how they were going to continue his legacy or what he did in the MCU, that was, in a way, way more disrespectful than what they decided was the best action to go forward with. So someone passes away and they still had more on the plate to offer. And the best way you see fit to honor them is to stop where they stopped. It doesn't make any sense. So for me personally, his passing was very heartbreaking because as a human being, you feel bad when somebody passes away. And it's no disrespect to him and his family. You know what I'm saying? Like, the character T'Challa has been around since the 60s. Chadwick Boseman was born in the 70s. So even if you wanted to link them together, T'Challa has more precedent and he's been here longer. And you're taking on his roles to tell his story, not Chadwick Boseman's story. This is T'Challa's story. So anybody can embody that. anybody can take that story and run with it. So, you know, it's unfortunate that the dude had to pass away. I loved him in 42, loved him as James Brown, loved him in Thurgood Marshall. What was that other movie? 21 Bridges. You know, he did a lot of great work.
Five Bloods.
Right, Five Bloods. He did a lot of great work. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to miss the man for the actor that he was, not just for the fact that he played T'Challa. And I think a lot of people are just knowing T'Challa. I mean, are just knowing Chadwick because of T'Challa. And they don't see all the other embodiment of work that he's done that made him so special.
Broke
Yeah.
me.
Go on, Theo.
It broke me.
Take your time, bro.
You hear about what he speaks about. The more of us. That statement what he made about Ocean's 11. That's something that I've been wanting for us for so long. I did a video the night that I found out that he passed. I don't want to say I'm ashamed of the video, but I was emotional on that video. I think we forget, as Kaizo so eloquently stated, there's a separation between actor and character. Those who speak of the actor wasn't a selfish man. He was not. And he was not a stereotypical Black man either. The roles that he turned down, even as Kaizo talked about 21 Bridges, he made sure brother had a role in that movie. Think about this for a second. A man who talks about uplifting others and then actually goes forward and does so. I got this role. I know we need more Black actors in Hollywood. Let me go get a Black actor. That remind you of anybody? Yeah. Mike Tomlin and Brian Flores. We lost a good one with Jay. Like his brother said, had he been here, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Or would we? And that we'll talk about later. But that's the sad part about it. We still could have been having this damn conversation even if Chadwick was still alive. That's the sad part about it.
Piggybacking on what Theo was saying emotionally, yeah, I cried, man, flat out. I cried crocodile tears simply because I realized cinematically what the man was and the pathways he was getting ready to create for the rest of us, you know, and to have that flame extinguished was just debilitating. And then to hear, I mean, and it hit me like WTF when because I heard what Feige said before I heard what Derek Bozeman said. And then when I found out Derek Bozeman said what he said before Kevin Feige said what he said, I was like, okay, something rotten over at Marvel Studios, and I would like to know what the hell it is. And then the more, you know, you start looking, and it wasn't even, you know, I'm just talking about from a cursory examination on the outside looking in, not even doing a deep probe. You're looking at it and it's like, okay, we are not recasting that role because it was so iconic and no one else could play that role. And then, you know, folks like Anthony Mackie started co-signing. You know, oh yeah, no, nobody can play that role but Chad. caping for the bags. You, sir, are caping for the bags. We do not want to hear shit you got to say because it's obvious that you are caping for the bags. You know, and then you got other actors that came in and just start, oh yeah, chat was this and chat was. If he meant as much to you as you are bumping your gums and saying he meant to you, then you will understand why the legacy of the character that he started needed to continue. If he's that iconic in that role, just that role, that ain't the only role Chadwick Boseman ever played in his life. So you have to separate the role from the actor. To combine the two is emotion. And like I think all of us have said in a video at one time or another, you do not make billion-dollar decisions with your emotions.
Especially in a matter of minutes.
Oh yeah,
definitely not a matter of minutes.
Huh?
No, not in minutes.
So with Chad's death, for me, it was definitely a surprise. Obviously, didn't nobody know, but I did think of maybe what was this? Maybe 4 or 5 months before his passing, he did the promo on Jackie Robinson Day, right? And he looked very, he kind of looked ill at that point, and people started speculating and asking questions, and at that point, I had brushed it off. I said, well, he's probably prepping for a role. You've seen actors do very drastic things to get into roles, and Chadwick was a true thespian, man. He was a true like worker in his craft. He was a very good actor, very good actor's actor. We all look, man. I love Michael B. Jordan, and I want that dude to succeed. I actually think he's a little better behind the camera than he is in front of it. But there are more substance. There's more substance. There's more substantive roles out there to be played. And I just feel like Chadwick kind of grabbed those. James Brown, Jackie Robinson, Thurgood Marshall. His character in 21 Bridges, the one you was talking about, man, that movie, man, that was my favorite Chadwick Boseman. It showed how it's similar to Black Panther, how a Black man can be even your heroic cop hero as well. The ultimate pragmatist, investigator, do-gooder cop. He can play those too. And he was a legacy character. And he was a legacy.
And those are more characters. When I talk, and I apologize, Marcus, but when we talk about television entertainment for Black actors, actresses, and everything like that, those are roles that we should be looking at, not only being more involved in, but also making for us, creating for us, and everything like that. I told Gab from Machiavelli, if I was in charge of a network, this gonna sound funny, but it is what it is. I would have for 4 hours, 2 hour, 2 hour blocks, Black wrestling. We got not just anybody that's Black, but no, you have to be a qualified Black actor. I'm gonna say wrestler. I would go get Booker T to run it. Let's make it what it is. Let's get some pay-per-view events like that. Because you see Black wrestlers, they go somewhere, and unless you somebody named Dwayne Johnson or Sasha Banks, you're not gonna get that push like that. Come on over here. But a channel with a Black science fiction show like Star Trek or like Star Wars, why we can't be in space?
Yeah.
What that is, so, but yeah, that, I apologize, but yeah, that would be something that I would, when we talk about roles and Chadwick Boseman giving more roles, giving bigger opportunities, anyway.
For sure. Y'all touched on a lot about how the audience has struggled separating the actor from the role he's playing, right? From the character. I'm not gonna hop on that because y'all took care of that. I want to talk about a little bit how Marvel in their decision to come out and kind of sculpt this narrative around not recasting, they're kind of responsible for that. Because the result of that is you've kind of taken ownership over this man's legacy, which hell no, man, no. Marvel, Disney, Kevin Feige, Nate Moore, Ryan Coogler, Lupita Nyong'o, Angela Bassett. I don't care. Y'all do not have ownership over this man's memory, over his legacy as an actor. This man played titans in our culture, in our history. T'Challa being one of them. But you do not get to isolate him to T'Challa alone, as if you're going to put T'Challa and Chadwick Boseman to rest at the same time.
I think.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think a large part of the reason why that's happening is because a lot of Marvel fans are out there accepting the things that Marvel said as law.
Yep.
I think Marvel, I think that's why they lean so heavy into the virtue signal, right? Because it gives the appearance that, or at least it affords them the birth that they have, right? It affords them the leash that people are willing to give them. They're almost above reproach. You don't see the tag of Marvel and automatically think, oh, discrimination or implicit bias or, the multitude of things that you would see in any American corporation. But for some reason, the Disney Marvel banner gives them the pass to kind of get past that critical thinking. Like we just sat up here and talked about how our first several times watching Black Panther. I don't know how many times I had to get through that movie to see that, like, they literally slaughtered all of the elder men in the country. And I don't know why it took me so long. I'm actually embarrassed that it took me so long to see something like that, right? But it's because I was seeing it, or I was being fed it by a company I trusted. You know what I'm saying? I've kind of put my faith in them because of the social tones that they tried to follow, right? The messages that they try to send in their movies. You think that they're quote unquote trying to be woke. So then how could they do something like, have a father kill his own brother and then leave his nephew in Compton, and then his son grows up and ends up killing that cousin, and then his elder uncle is killed by that cousin too. Just a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, just
well, I ain't gonna lie, me and Darren felt some type of way as the older dudes just being killed off willy-nilly in the damn movie.
Yo,
Isaac, you was getting ready to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just to agree with Marcus, I thought I was the only person that peeped that.
Yeah.
It's like, it just never made any sense. It's like, you're the king of a nation and you're gonna kill your own blood brother just to safeguard an agent you placed to watch him. Like, he's that important than your family?
What other monarch would do that anywhere? What other monarch would choose the sleeper cell agent that he placed strategically, who he probably already accepted was probably going to die at one point anyways, in service to his country? Who would murder their brother to save that man?
Right. The whole point of having sleeper agents is they're expendable. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's what I'm saying. The movie was not great. There were so many flaws in there that I saw. Even to add on to that one scene itself, being the fact that I read the comics, when they said that his brother was Njobu, I'm like, hold up. Njobu is not even his actual brother, though. You know what I'm saying?
And that ain't his name.
Right. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. So I'm like, red flags just started popping up out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, where's this gonna go here? So I didn't mean to, you know what I'm saying, get all up in there. But listen, man, they, like you said, his dad, his brother, his uncle, and then Zuri, and then Killmonger ends up dying himself. It's like so much black male death happening in one movie.
Wait.
And like
I guess I understand why
nobody gave
Winston
a
Duke is
damn.
getting a. I understand why Winston Duke is getting a pay raise because he's like him and Daniel Kaluuya are like the only black men left from Wakanda apparently.
Right.
And
one of them is in jail.
Yeah, one of them is in jail.
And the dude with the disc in his mouth.
Guys,
Oh yeah.
You and D are the historians, right? So you know me, I'm at the movie theater and I'm sitting there with my ex at the time. And so when T'Chaka killed Njobu, I turned, now she don't know comics, so she don't know why I'm looking at her like that. I'm looking at her like, wait, that's what we doing? And so I'm like, as many times as Loki didn't snatch somebody's soul up out of here, Thor ain't never.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Because we just seen Captain America Civil War. We didn't seen by now 2-3 movies where the Winter Soldier is just eliminating folks left and right. And I ain't, come on, Bucky. Come on.
Where is the willingness to use fantasy to write you out of holes, write you out of plot holes? Where is the willingness to put a little, fantastic twist on it to get you out of spots where you have to kill people? Right. How many people you done seen die in the Thor movie? Loki ain't never died. He's never truly died. How many people you done died in a Captain America film? Come on, man.
On that point, here's a question that I have been contemplating for years. Okay. A lot of heroes, and let's just go with a hero that's in the MCU or was in the MCU. Captain America. Who's the first villain Captain America faces? The Red Skull.
Red Skull.
Now, how much mileage could Marvel have gotten out of the Captain America franchise had they not sent Johann Schmidt to Vormir? How about if we had just sent him somewhere for a little while and he came back? Do you know how many amazing stories there are involving Captain America and his arch nemesis, the Red Skull?
That's not even a fair question. Do you know why that's not a fair question?
Why is that not a fair question? Here we go.
Because it would be fair if the Red Skull was gone and we wasn't going to never see him no more. It would be fair if me, you, and Kaizo, Marcus, and Josh might not know that Steve Rogers still got the super soldier serum still floating around in his body. It would be nice if me, you, and Kaizo, Marcus and Josh might not know this, didn't know that Tony Stark had the extremist virus still floating around in his system. I.e., watch this. If they don't get the numbers that they want, they might not bring Chris Evans back as Steve Rogers, but we're going to get another Steve Rogers, and it's going to be from 616. It ain't going to be no variant. They don't like the way these Iron Man stories going with Ironheart? Don't worry about it. It might not be Robert Downey Jr., but hell, if they can bring Tom Cruise in just for a bit part in the Multiverse of Madness, you think they not finna recast Tony Stark from the 616? And they already know how to write him out the hole because the storyline's right there in the damn comic book. And they know when to go back and pull them comic books. They just won't do it with T'Challa or the Black Panther franchise. I ain't saying, I'm just saying.
That's the difference between, your typical MCU watcher and then people who are reading runs and runs of comic books. See, you understand that because you've seen it pass and go right back to the main character. You've seen the short stint or the one shot where somebody else put on the costume and then we right back to the mainstay character. Yeah. People don't understand that. They don't get that. They don't see that this linear story that you're telling has a through line, and that through line is that the protagonist is that main character, right? Okay. You go ahead.
No, you can finish. I just had an example.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So here's an example of how somebody can make a new character take on a mantle correctly, right? This is not even MCU related. The Wolverine. How many movies did he have? Solo movies.
3?
2, 3.
Right.
Yeah, 3. He had 3. Origins. He had that one where he was in Japan for some reason. Samurai and Logan. And then he had Logan.
3.
Right. 3. So what happened at the end of Logan?
He died.
Yeah.
Right? And they introduced who?
Laura Kinney,
Laura.
X-23, right?
X-23. Yep.
And she takes his mantle, his suit. So you mean to tell me that you can have 3 movies for one character from a franchise that usually consists of a whole team, and you can do 3 solo films with them and then introduce passing the mantle, but you can't do it for a character that didn't finish their arc yet? Just because an actor died?
That's
Kaizo,
all
put it like that.
that's the ooh-wee moment right there, Kaizoku.
Mhm.
That's the ooh-wee moment
When you
right
put it like
there.
that, watch this.
They have no reason, none, not even a little bit. And all the examples across all forms of media. I ain't even going to talk about movies. How many different people have been Captain America in the comic books?
Right.
Oh,
Now watch this.
plethora.
Okay.
Kaizo just stated they didn't even write the first movie right to set up Shuri's ascension.
No, they didn't.
Well,
They
you didn't. Well, as Kaizoku and I have pointed out,
She's wild frail,
besides not being trained up and nice with her hands, she's mad frail.
I mean,
And I got a hard time believing somebody a $105 soaking wet is running through 200-pound men with ease. I can't do it. You can't. That little frail thing. I don't care how much heart-shaped herb you put up in her. She's not. No, come on.
You're right. Now watch this, because you know they very specific about their castings. I got a question. As serious as cancer, not who can make the average dancer. Did y'all ever plan on? Now we know what we know about the comics. Shuri, Ascension of Black Panther, Ascension to becoming a griot. Did you ever plan on this actress, this character, taking that particular story arc, or did you plan on passing this mantle to somebody else not related to T'Challa? And now we just got to put Letitia Wright, Shuri in this because of Chadwick's unfortunate passing. I got a question, because you didn't write it like that in the first movie. You didn't even hint at that.
There's even hints saying that was going to happen regardless, and that Chadwick was having an issue with Marvel Studios.
So I was wondering if anybody else remembered that. So
yes.
I remember reading those articles, and it was around the same time as the Jackie Robinson Day thing, right? And I remember seeing something where they were saying that he was fighting them on trying to pass the mantle from T'Challa to Shuri in the follow-up movie. And that part of his negotiations for Black Panther 3 is that T'Challa would be in Black Panther 2 and Black Panther 3. That's why he was signed on to do Black Panther 3. I also remember seeing an article from 20 that actually resurfaced. Theo, I think you might have been talking about this article from 2018, where he's basically massaging the idea to Ryan Coogler of, hey, anybody can wear this suit. You know what I mean? Anybody can do the job. It's been passed around a bunch of times. So, don't get too comfortable. Be comfortable with the idea that multiple people can wear this mantle. So we got that. That's on wax. I seen that. I think that was CBR, right?
Let's ask a question. If you're Ryan Coogler and you're a Black Panther fan, why does somebody need to tell you that? Because you tell it, you read Black Panther.
I think we need to let that go. The idea that these guys are tapped into comics like that. I think he probably did the work.
Agreed.
He probably read to get the source material down, but he's not a fan. If you can come away from reading any Black Panther run and say that the story's about Wakanda and not about T'Challa, then you're not reading to read. You're not a fan.
That's why I say he's lying. He ain't reading nothing.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
Kevin, or should I say no more? Yeah, he read no more than he needed to do what he needed to do for the movie project.
You gotta do what you gotta do to get the bag sometimes, and unfortunately, a lot of us will do that over dignity. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a true Black Panther fan or you're a true comic fan, as you say you are, and you know of T'Challa, then you understand that he is the Black Panther in the comics. And it's just as everybody stated, anytime that it's been passed on or there's a story telling about a Black Panther that came before him or after, it's always been centered around him. It's always people associated with T'Challa.
No.
Like T'Challa, Black Panther in the comics is the story of T'Challa. It just so happens that sometimes the mantle of the Black Panther gets passed on to somebody else for them to use for the time moment that T'Challa's probably doing something else, i.e., messing around with the Avengers or lost in space. It always comes back to him because he's the Black Panther.
I hate how people act like they don't understand that either. Like that it's such a overdone kind of concept. Like,
right.
Yeah, there are peripheral characters, there are supporting cast that uplift the main character. And for time to time, the main character may be incapacitated and somebody in his purview has to take up the mantle. That happens over everybody. Like Captain America, Tony Stark, Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, who else you want to talk about? Blade,
Yep.
Daredevil, Moon Knight, Spider-Man for sure, Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman. Like they all have a moment where they are no longer they're still the title character, but they're no longer the owner of the mantle. And someone that they've had a relationship with, whether it be a foe, a friend, a protege, takes up that mantle. We've seen that film and comic books and print media. So it frustrates me that Marvel was able to drive this home so successfully by making one statement that asserts that, number one, they own the legacy of Chadwick Boseman. Number two, that killing this character off or retiring it, shelving it, is respectful to the legacy of Chadwick Boseman. Two things that have never been proven. We don't have any type of precedent for that. But they were able to establish it and drive it home by giving one statement on Disney Day, on D23.
You know what? It's our fault.
I asked the question on one of my videos because I know how I would feel regardless of what Kevin Feige said. It wasn't going to change. My question, and I think it's a fair one to those who believe in Marvel. If your decision is, well, your mindset is I believe in Marvel, how would you have felt about the recasting if Kevin Feige comes out on December 10th and says the exact opposite? You think about the amount of people, there were people that were swayed. We get that. But there was also a deliberate narrative being pushed to those people who gonna see this video. If you can say you would have honestly felt the same, regardless of what Kevin Feige says, one way or the other, that's one thing. But if you can have willing to have an honest conversation with yourself, was your decision based off of what he said, because he got to you first, then you know you didn't make this decision of your own volition. You were prodded into doing this. Go back and look at Derek Boseman's video, or go look at all the videos of Chadwick Boseman actually speaking so you can get a better feel. Don't take our word for it, like the preachers say in church. Go listen to this dude talk for yourself so you can get a better idea. But that's the question, Marcus, to go along with yours. If Kevin Feige would have said something different, a complete 180 on December 10th, would that have affected your decision when it comes to recasting T'Challa? Not recasting T'Challa.
Listen, I said this before and I'll say it again. Why are people acting like we don't know what the role of an actor is? Like, if you can't do the job, they'll find somebody else because the role is meant for somebody to play it. It's not meant for, oh, we wrote this down specifically so that Chadwick Boseman can play it. No, you went and casted people. You had a casting director, you had a casting crew, so you can find people to best fit the role. You mean to tell me there are no other Black actors out there who can take up the mantle of what Chadwick did to embody T'Challa? You really tell me that you can't name, well, unfortunately, in Hollywood or in the powers that be, it seems that people can't really name Black actors out there who are good enough, even though there are a plethora of them just waiting to be selected. And that's unfortunate because just we see how they play this. It's only a handful of people who have the limelight who get all the roles. And then everybody else has to fend for secondary roles or even not eating for a while. Why don't you spread the wealth and showcase how many people you have on your roster that can take up several roles that are important? But unfortunately, they want to, especially when it comes to our community, they want to delegate it to one person at a time. This is why we've never seen people like Denzel and Will Smith in the same movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
crazy because I think a lot of people in the community can name you at least 5 to 10 people that can play T'Challa. Like everybody that I've run to in the community can list you a list of at least 5 people that can show up and play T'Challa extremely well.
I like this one. Who saw, and I think, well, y'all can, because we didn't all seen these shows, whether they came out first on rerun. Who saw Cress Williams playing Jefferson Pierce? Anybody? Anybody saw Cress Williams playing Black Lightning? I'm saying, like, did we see him doing that when we saw him on Living Single?
Yeah. Oh, seen him on Living Single. No. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's different for you.
It's different time period.
I saw him on Living Single.
I'm just saying, like, that's where you seen, whether it was on a rerun or something like that, before he got cast to play Jefferson Pierce. You didn't look at him on Living Single and say, oh yeah, that's Black Lightning right there.
That's Black Lightning. No, yeah.
Even the dude that they're fighting for right now, y'all help me out. David that plays God dang it, Green Lantern. John Stewart. What's the dude actor's name?
John David Washington.
John David Washington. I remember this dude from a comedic church thing on NBC back in the day. Now you want to talk about them finna latch on to somebody?
Yeah, they're already pushing him hard.
He don't play John Stewart, which I don't know why it ain't happened yet. But now here's the sad part. If he don't play John Stewart, Green Lantern, that's not gonna come from the Black community. That's gonna be up in arms. It ain't the Black community that's gonna be up in arms. No, it's the wide plethora of comic book fans that's been following this dude since he been on the Arrowverse. They gonna be mad as hell. They do a Green Lantern movie, Jonathan Stewart, and he ain't that dude. You want to talk about something?
Yeah,
well,
I mean, I have my feelings about John David. That I mean, to me personally, right?
Make him.
So many people pushing him out there. I don't think he's that great of an actor like that.
Ding, 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 ding.
You know what I'm saying? I think people are doing it because he's associated with his dad. And
Ding,
also,
ding, ding, ding.
It depends on the movie.
Yeah, it depends on the movie.
Depends
but
on
at
the
the
movie.
same time, his credentials are not really up there for people to be like.
Oh, for a Marvel role? Absolutely not. Absolutely
Right.
not. That part is definitely his clout, his family name.
And he's getting the treatment that people usually do when they try to name who could play certain Black characters from comics. It's always, before it was always Michael Jai White, Idris Elba, and Michael B. Jordan. It's always those three. And now John David Washington is being added as a fourth. So
there's no 5'9" person to play Steve Rogers. You not.
Nah.
I'm 5'9". You never gonna cast no 5'9" person to play Captain America. That
Well.
You ain't finna cast Steve Rogers is going to be 5'9" height wise. Tony Stark might be 5'9", but I do not want to see the King of Wakanda my height. I don't want to.
By and large, sir, actors are a short lot. Hugh Jackman, people like him.
Oh my God! Don't get on that.
Actors, they are the exception, not the rule. Trust me, if you've been on the set of a movie, watching it being shot, them people love.
Tom Cruise is a midget.
They love.
He's a little.
They love fellas.
What I'm saying is this. Don't cast, if you're gonna give me a 5'9" T'Challa, you better give me a 5'9" Steve Rogers. I don't want
Right.
Hey,
thank you.
Check this out.
You gotta be eye level.
You better give me Frog Thor.
Check this out.
We talked about this.
Steve Rogers could be 6'9" and T'Challa could be 5'7" in a movie, and you never know.
Ain't that much angle in the world. Michael
Right. Right.
Michael
I'm sorry. I'll peep it.
This is 2022.
Listen,
I can put Luke Skywalker's face somewhere, and people
Michael
believe
Coulter
that's Luke Skywalker.
Michael Coulter is 6'3".
Done.
He's the perfect, any actor that's going to play that superimposing, physically imposing
Luke
superhero, above 6 feet. Captain America, stuff like that, 6 feet. You Nightwing or something like that, you 5'10".
Former Robin.
I ain't trying to height shame because I'm 5'9" my damn self. If I'm looking at the principle, here we go. Really? If I'm really looking at T'Challa, he 5'9" and I'm 5'9", I'm looking at T'Challa and I'm like, this thing could probably
I could probably take him. I could probably take him.
You're gonna be like them sleeper agents in the comic books. You're gonna be disrespecting them. I don't want to leave T'Challa.
Right, just pull up.
Here.
Right,
you ain't
right.
taking me off the mission. Somewhere. Shut up.
Smack him down to the ground like gentle.
Right. I mean, I just think that's important. When you see that scene, and they were very careful how they did it. The Infinity War, when him and Cap are running towards the Night Riders, they were very careful how they played that out with them two running side by side. They know we sitting up here looking like, I wish you would. I wish you would. I wish you would. See what's gonna happen. They knew. So yeah.
That was one of the very few moments.
Slow down, Chad. You're running too fast. Chad. Slow down, man. Slow down.
that was one of the very few moments that I think they can't canonically got right about T'Challa. Aside from the fact of how Chadwick Boseman played the role in Civil War, after that, it became like, why y'all dumbing him down? Like this ain't T'Challa. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude don't care. If it ain't about Wakanda, he don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? And usually, if you're whenever he associates himself with the Avengers, he's doing it to protect Wakanda. He's doing it as himself as a sleeper agent in the Avengers to make sure that Wakanda is safe. You know what I'm saying? So this whole can we all just get along T'Challa that we got right now? This ain't it.
Well, so interesting enough, the dichotomy of T'Challa is a testament to who was writing him. And a lot of different people who wrote T'Challa in comics wrote him a lot of different ways. When he first became an Avenger, like back in those days, you barely even seen him. And then when you did see him, nobody knew the Black Panther was black. Because he had a full face mask and he never took his face mask off. And I remember a comic book where I think it was Avengers number 57, where T'Challa's like stopping like some low street level stuff, like some muggers or some stuff like that. And the police come to pick him up. And it's like, oh, it's an Avenger. You're stopping low level crimes like this. And there's two little black kids over to the side. And they're like, man, we could sure use a Black Panther in our neighborhood. Oh, wait, they don't know that he's black? So later on, when he finally gets outed, because the Sons of the Serpents kidnap him, and the Sons of the Serpents are a hate group anyway, so they're trying to, boo on black stuff, and we're going to make we kidnapped the Black Panther, and he's black. So everybody knows he's black, but then he announces too at like some kind of like function or something, I'm the chief of Wakanda, blah, 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 so on and so forth. It makes him look like he's more concerned about what's going on outside of Wakanda until somebody from Wakanda, i.e. Man-Ape, you ain't doing your job, so I'm going to take over.
Exactly.
He didn't like that. And so we have this back and forth kind of thing. Okay, T'Challa loves Wakanda. He's all about Wakanda. Okay, but then he gets judged because the first woman, not the second, the first woman he gets with, Monica Lynn, is American. All these Dora Milaje you got over here, all these potential Wakandan women, you goes and gets her. So that's the narrative that's being painted like he don't really love or respect anything Wakandan. And then there's even a limited series where Bast confronts him about that. Where's your heart at? Tell me where your heart is. Show me where your heart is. Are you Wakanda? You know what I'm saying? And she's slashing him up and cutting him up and all of this kind of stuff. And he's, he finally just kind of yields and says, yeah, okay. And so he's got to be about Wakanda from that point forward. So what ends up happening is we bond T'Challa and Wakanda and say T'Challa is Wakanda and Wakanda is T'Challa. And disregarding all of that other stuff that went on prior to 1998, we just kind of throw that out the window and say, this is the dynamic that makes T'Challa who he is. Not even, even giving regard to like 20 years of source material, which is what tells you people like Nate Moore and Kevin Feige and Ryan Coogler, all of them, they didn't look at it as a whole. They might have looked at it as far as dynamics. Oh, that picture in Fantastic Four, that looks really cool. Metal trees, let's use that. Oh, that picture in Black Panther, oh, that looks really cool. Let's use that. Not what is the symbolism behind it? What does it mean? What does that Panther statue mean? What does that Panther totem mean sitting out in front of Wakanda? What does it mean? Do you know what that symbolizes? Does he? No, he don't, because he took it and he turned it into like a big Panther statue in the movie.
I think that's part of the problem that plagues, and Kaizo, help me out here. When we look at Black characters, Black superheroes, it's a consistent lack of development across the board. When we look at T'Challa, as Kaizo stated, the stories about Wakanda, the stories about Black Panther, they're all told through the eyes of T'Challa. T'Challa is that character. All of us have taken an English class. If we've been college trained, high school trained, we know stories are told through somebody's eyes. Even when we tell stories of the past, it's told through T'Challa's eyes because somebody told it to him. So then we look at the stories and you like, we don't have enough, because I have, like I said, Kaizo helped me out with this, Darryl helped me out with this, because y'all read comics too. Marcus, Josh, we just started. Help me out. I can read about an author or a artist saying they were a fan of this particular character. How many times have we heard or read somebody say they were a fan of a Black character? You can be Black and write the character, but not be a fan of the character.
1000%.
But if you a fan of this character, there are certain portrayals you just not gonna sign off on. If you a fan of the character and somebody says, come on in, we bring you on issue 100. If you are a fan of the character and the character was underdeveloped from issue 1 to 99, you gonna make it your business to flesh out that character's backstory. Mm-hmm. Make it easy on the next person to come around. We sitting up here talking about getting T'Challa recast. They finna go forward with a story, and Marvel as a company really don't know T'Challa's history. Whose history they know? T'Challa's history not fleshed out. That's the daddy. Sayin's history ain't fleshed out. That's the uncle. Well, hell, we ain't. Nahonda, that's a female Black Panther. We ain't got her story. We ain't even got. They introduced Black Panther 1 million BC and didn't get his damn. We had to get his damn dude a name. How do you introduce a character and don't give him a name? What was Odin calling him the whole damn time?
What called him nothing. I don't think he called him anything.
That is the foolhardy of it. Jefferson Pierce is related to John Stewart, because Jefferson Pierce is married to his sister. That don't even get. Kaizo can't even give y'all a good video on that.
Wow, I did not peep. I did not know that.
Yeah, man.
Because it's obscure. It's obscure information. It's obscure.
You know what pisses me off about that is the last time I seen Black Lightning, because I haven't finished the last season of Black Lightning. Right. The last time I seen him was on Young Justice.
I was just about to say that.
And you know that they made him and Jay, well, at least where I'm at right now, him and Dr. Jace are together.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, hold on, man.
WTF?
It's
What's
weird.
going
They're
on?
gonna-
It's weird.
My man got a wife and 2 kids.
And 2 kids. He got a wife and 2 kids. Both of them super powered by a black woman.
Watch this. And
Y'all just wiped out
got
this
a
man's
Green
whole
Lantern ring.
family to put him with Jace.
His brother-in-law got a Green Lantern ring. It will run him that fade from out in space, and he won't even see it coming.
Yo.
It does not compute.
It doesn't at all.
It does not compute, bro.
It's one of them things.
And that's a prime example. That's a prime example of writers wanting to get credit for instigating, creating, or inaugurating something and just go all the way off the reservation and say, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this character and we're going to take them all the way out of character. And this is going to become canon for casuals, because ain't nobody casual getting ready to dig off into a comic book and find out if that is the truth. That's why it's kind of like up to folks like us to point those inconsistencies out and say, guess what? There's more to that story than what they telling you, and they're telling it from one perspective. There's more than one perspective to it.
I'm gonna give her a shout out real quick. Karama Horn. She's releasing a book in September in regards to the Dora Milaje, the protectors of Wakanda. I'm giving her a shout out. She's taking the history of the Dora Milaje. She's gonna own it. She's gonna flesh it out. Dora Milaje been around for quite some time now in Marvel Comics, and their story is, as I just stated, it isn't fleshed out. She's going to flesh it out. She's a fan. She knows there's a difference. You know, when she saw the movie, like some other folks did, then went back and looked at the comics and said, oh, there's a difference between the movie and the comics. Then she owned it. Shout out to Robert Moore, the other member, because he actually named Black Panther 1 million BC. She owned it. She's a fan. That's what we need. We need more fans of the actual characters, Black characters, to be given the ability, the avenue to write these characters. That's what we need. We don't need somebody.
You know what we do?
Get the money. I'm sorry.
What we do really need to start doing, and I've kind of inaugurated the process myself, is if people, and there's a video forthcoming, be looking for it. If people like Marvel and DC don't want to give us the characters that they know we deserve, or the characters that we know we deserve, and just don't want to see them, screw them. Let's make them on our own. Do you know literally how many independent Black artists and writers there are out there doing material outside of Marvel, outside of DC, that need to get some airplay? Do you know how many Black-owned properties are slated for movie projects that are in some stage of production that we don't know about? It's just, the narrative is to keep it out of sight, out of mind. I mean, I've been knowing about Regina King doing a Bitterroot movie project since like 2019, bro. And ain't nobody saying nothing about it. Kwanzaa Osayevo's project, Black, that's getting ready to get turned into a movie. Are you kidding me? A world where only Black people have superhuman powers. Oh, how that will sit in the craw of the other.
I don't think they're gonna let that one get out, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think that one gonna make it out production.
And you know what? You know what? Hey,
they wouldn't even give us season 2 of Lovecraft Country. Ain't no way.
Yeah.
Ain't no way.
Hey,
right.
D, tell them about White Man's Burden back in the day with Sidney Poitier and John Travolta. They did that one, and that movie Look,
get under the radar. You get it under the radar if you do it slick. Wink, wink. You know what I'm saying? You get it under the radar if you do it slick. You make it sound like something that's gonna pump them up. Oh, they'd be like, oh, let's go with it. And then when they see it, they're gonna be like, we done already spent the 120 million. It's too late now.
Third season of Altered Carbon. Where is it?
Yo, seriously. So they finally
second
changed
season was
the boy
terrible.
into a black man,
Mhm.
right? And now he's linked up with old girl from Hamilton. And now all of a sudden I don't get no more Altered Carbon. Anthony
Did y'all
Mackie should
like
have been
the
getting his
second
money from
season of
Netflix.
Altered Carbon?
Wait,
It was-
you talking about the Michael B. Jordan thing?
Nah.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The one with your boy Anthony Mackie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
On
I'm waiting
Netflix.
on another season. The
Right.
second season was so. It was
I
all
probably would have liked it more if it wasn't Anthony Mackie.
Why?
And I'm
Why?
not saying
You think
that.
he did a
I'm
bad
not saying
job?
that. I'm not saying that to diss Anthony Mackie. I'm just saying he
It's
didn't
the
do
statement
what
he
he set
made.
out to do, at least for me.
That statement he made, bro, that ain't gay. Like, I was hurt when he made that
Oh, this was
statement.
before I heard that. This was before
Oh.
I heard that statement.
Oh,
when I saw Altered Carbon, I was like, okay. And
Honestly,
maybe
I felt like
might have been
his sister-
tripping. I might have been tripping because I was still kind of shell shocked from that Black Mirror episode with him and
Him and Yaya.
Oh my
Martine
God.
II.
Oh my
that
God,
shit
bro.
was nuts.
And so when he was on Altered Carbon, my mind went straight to you know,
Hey, listen. I'll just say this. Most of y'all favorite actors somehow did some questionable roles to get the spotlight. Let's say, for instance, one of our favorite characters in the comics is now getting some shine, right?
right.
She was in WandaVision.
Right.
Do some research on that actress and see what she did prior to getting casted for that role.
Already.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. That's my.
That's all I gotta say.
That's my
That's
celebrity
all
crush.
I gotta say.
No.
I'm not saying
chill,
nothing
bro.
else. I'm not saying nothing else. Just do your research.
No.
Questionable roles out here.
Don't
Yeah.
tell them.
Your boy in Atlanta. Your boy in Atlanta got delegated to playing a certain role for diversity's sake.
Yeah.
Your boy in
I know
Atlanta.
exactly what you're talking about.
Your boy from
Dear
Atlanta.
The show
But
Atlanta.
compare
Yeah.
Dear White People, the role that she played in that, it was like, hey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She played a self-hating black woman. Straight up.
And she played it on in Dear White People.
Dear White People. And it was a series on Netflix. Like, and she played her ass off. Like, yeah, she did.
She played it a little too well, huh?
Yeah, I ain't saying
She
did
killed
her
it.
thing.
She killed it.
She did,
Oh.
yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
first of all, my opinion is biased, so I'm gonna put it out there. But I feel like we do have to have people play those roles, though. That has to be seen because the people who do that in real life, they need to see themselves in the true light of the way that they act. It does. It exists, and we need to address those things in real time in the way that we view media. So if that means she pop up in a TV show and she don't like the way she looks, so she hate on everybody else, that's very real.
Yeah,
that's very present.
To me, because I can understand what Kaizo was saying, her situation is a little bit different. Not a little bit. It's actually different than O'Boy's situation from Atlanta. You already established. You was just in a damn monster movie, Godzilla. You literally took on this role for what reason? You didn't read the comic because you knew, because Fastos is heterosexual. He's married. What like when they presented this to you, you already established. You could Atlanta got renewed for another season. And we can say we want to, when your TV shows get not picked up, but put in syndication, that's a nice check. So you done been in a Godzilla movie. You know, you took this role for what reason?
Well,
somebody presented you a script. You already established. You're a black man. You know the struggles of being a black man in life, let alone Hollywood.
That being said, Samuel L. Jackson never turns down a role. So I don't know if it had anything to do with him needing the money or just him wanting to challenge himself as an actor, because I know as a stage actor, I pride myself on playing the antagonist because I do villains very well. And so that's what I focus on, is being the heavy. I've been in 3 different plays where I played the devil. So so I mean, if you do it good, you just do it good. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to challenge yourself in a role, maybe he wanted, that's the only thing I could think of, you know, from an actor's viewpoint. You want to challenge yourself and you want to go outside of the roles that you normally play.
But if you
No,
look at
no, I get
role,
that. I get that.
That role isn't a gay man. Like, you a straight dude. You notice if you read it, you're supposed to do some research, regardless of what role. Y'all help me out. Regardless of what role I take on, I'm supposed to do some research on that role.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it depends on how you do research. A lot of people don't do research the same way. Research can consist of me making a phone call to my assistant and saying, research the Eternals for me.
Marvel Wiki is on your cell phone.
Right. I get that. But if you want the role and they tell you, okay, the role is yours, but we're gonna make 1 small change, or 2 small changes, or 5 small changes. If you still with it, you still with it. Bags is bags, right?
Yeah.
It's a
But
check.
the thing is with I believe most people who take on Marvel roles is because they understand what comes after that. Once you get placed in a Marvel movie, especially nowadays, you'll get like so many roles after that. Like that's a road to stardom, especially if you're a struggling actor or actress. So it makes sense why somebody would take a questionable role or something that deviates from the source material. So
even when you screw it up with a black scent.
Yeah. Even then.
People still trying to give you work.
Yeah.
Real quick though, I'm gonna go 2-pronged on y'all because just because of the dynamic of the questions. Your feelings about Kevin Feige's announcement, your feelings about Derek Boseman's video, and your feelings on Nate Moore's statement.
Can I kick it off on this one? Because I think I'm gonna have to slide here in a second. Kevin Feige's statement.
Yep.
Confusion. Derek Boseman's video. That's probably the most interesting one for me. I actually randomly stumbled on that entire interview, like well before, like a year before TMZ picked it up, but like well before it got circulated on the internet. I had Josh clip it out and we posted it on our Twitter page when I found it. I wouldn't say that we've been sitting on it, but it was like we put it out, said something about it in the video, and I didn't hear a lot of other people talking about it. Even some of the names that have been very big in, you know, the Recast T'Challa movement. So when they started pushing that out, when the outlets got a hold of it and started pushing it, I knew that that's when we kind of graduated out of the recast Daredevil, recast Iron Fist, Snyderverse kind of things now, because now you can't do anything but validate this man's feelings on his own brother. It's one thing for me to be saying as a fan, oh, I know better than you, Lupita Nyong'o, right? Because I know about more than Chad. I know more about Chadwick Boseman. I've studied more. I've watched more of his roles in depthly. Like, I've studied him. I know more than you. But then at the end of the day, that's his co-worker, right? So what is my word versus somebody who's worked with this man for years? You gonna tell me you know better than his brother? Your feelings and grief about Chadwick Boseman and wanting not to recast the character, those are stronger than his blood. His feelings means more. Your grief about taking on another actor in that role means more than his blood. Nate Moore, that entire exchange with Van Lathan told me 2 things about Nate Moore. Nate Moore does not really know or care that much about the source material. And I hate to say this, but elevating the blackness of the MCU was not Nate Moore's first priority. I think he pushed Black Panther. I think he got it on, I think he got it into the MCU, and good on him for doing that. But a good deed doesn't take away from, potential bad deeds, right? Or at least being blind to certain things. You know what I'm saying? So because you
20
got
attaboys do not negate one oh shit.
There you go. There you go.
That's
There you go.
In the military. Yep, that's what we say in the Marine Corps.
So just to run through that again, Kevin Feige, I was confused. Derek Bozeman, I was hopeful, and Nate Moore, I don't know. I don't know what I felt about Nate Moore, but it was enlightening. There you go, enlightened. That's what I'll say.
Josh got to run too. Josh out.
I think he was out. Yeah.
Josh rolled out early.
Well, I'm gonna leave it to the two historians to go last because they got that knowledge. It was I'm like Marcus, confusion when Kevin spoke. When I got the Derek Bozeman video, I was like, okay, cool. And put the video out there, kept talking about it and everything out there like that. And as Marcus, y'all alluded to, I already knew some stuff going on in the background and everything like that. So knowing what I knew, to hear Nate Moore speak brought about a huge sigh of relief to me, because I was like, oh, you didn't dry stitched on yourself. Thank you. Because wasn't nobody else going to believe this. But then, if you're Nate Moore, it's me looking at you as a man. You, as a Black man, I don't believe you didn't know Derek Bozeman made his statement 2 days before Kevin Feige. And even if you did find out about it after the fact, as a Black man, you let that narrative continue to not only get pushed, but to get elevated to a point where it was drowning out everything else. And then you got so arrogant to say it was a matter of minutes. You only spoke to one person, and then you're going to use the movie as a form of catharsis to help us get over Chadwick's death. I have no words for the dude.
Real quick, ain't gonna take me too long to summarize because I know exactly how I felt when I heard all three of them. When I first heard Feige, the first word that came out of my mouth, lies. That's a lie. You know what I'm saying? Simply because of the way he said it. I'm like, that's a lie, and it's stupid because you can't honor somebody by sending them off, getting rid of the role. Okay, you ain't separated the actor and the role. I already got that from Rip. Derek Bozeman's statements was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to him before I listen to anybody else, because he knows Chad better than these other people who are claiming, oh, he's my best friend, and oh, I worked with him, and oh, I did, yeah, but you didn't get no ass whooping with him when his mama got mad and started whooping everybody in the house. You don't have that experience. You ain't went to church with him. You don't have that experience. You ain't rode bikes with him down to the corner store, and a whole different experience. So when me and my brother talk, I'm going to listen to what my brother's saying before I listen to what anybody else is saying. So when I heard that statement, revelation. When I heard what Nate Moore said, my first thought, because I'm a community activist, was that gentleman is not in touch with his community. Because if he were in touch with his community, he would be saying the opposite of what he is saying right now. He's doing that because somebody high up at Marvel said, say this. And if you say anything different than this, we gonna have a huge problem. And so he went on ahead, and I don't want to use the word sellout. I really don't want to use the word sellout, but that was the word that came in my brain, straight up.
So to finish that off, my initial thoughts when Kevin Feige said what he said was, it's very similar to everybody else. I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, this is the title character. Why would you not continue it? And I understood, right? Because people are grieving, people are not ready to see somebody else in the role. People love Chadwick Boseman, but at the same time, you would understand that the role would need to continue because you love T'Challa in the MCU. So when I heard Derek Boseman say what he said in that interview, it gave me some form of clarity as to what is happening between the lines. So more so confirmation on what I was thinking, like putting two and two together, because there were rumors before that Chadwick was having problems with Marvel Studios. And then nobody knew that he was sick, which makes no sense, because if you're going to cast somebody, you're going to know everything about them. You're going to check up on them. You're going to make sure they're healthy so that they can continue what they signed up for. And then when he passed on, people saying things like he is the best portrayal of T'Challa in any sort of medium, which makes no sense because prior to that, everybody else was voice actors. There was nobody who embodied the visual representation of T'Challa. And then lastly, when Nate Moore said what he said, it was kind of like a catch-22, because on one end, he's saying we're not going to see T'Challa in the 616 MCU, which means in the MCU right now, we're not going to see him anymore. They're still going to continue with offing him. But it opens the avenue for a lot of people to get a variant in there, which to me, like you guys know in my video, is very lazy, because you're still on board with offing the person who's not dead, which is unnecessary. And it's a loophole that's unnecessary. So when he said what he said, straight up, and he was kind of stumbling and mumbling a little bit, it made sense. You know what I'm saying? You're the vice chair. You don't want to you don't want to anger a lot of people, and you got to say the words that you need to in order to, I don't know, make people feel good, but at the same time make your overseers feel better as well. So that's on my end.
Why do y'all think Kevin Feige, after, well, I know why I think, but why do you think Kevin Feige, after his announcement at the Investor Day, the Disney Investor Day, never has not spoken on this again? Has not come out to, clean up any of the missteps that he's gotten from Nate Moore or any of the cast and crew or whoever. Because it hasn't been all positive sound bites. I can remember when Milton Friedman was talking about the direction of the script, and he was less than impressed. I remember Angela Bassett talking about how many rewrites there have been. It hasn't all been positive feedback from the cast. So why hasn't he been willing to come out and talk about it then?
He's off the hook to a degree. And I'm going to tell you why. There's an article. I know it's on one of my videos. I have to see if I can go find it. But just as there are articles in regards to Chadwick Boseman having issues with Marvel, knowing that they were going to move the mantle, just as there are conversations in which there's articles out there where Nate Moore told Ryan to not be married to T'Challa as the sole keeper of the mantle. There's an article out there where Kevin Feige says he wanted to recast T'Challa as soon as he found out Chadwick Boseman had passed. The cast and crew told him not to. This was before he goes to before he went to Disney's Investors Day. He made sure like a year or two ahead of time he was already covered. Whether he meant that or not, whether he was lying or not, it's in print. So when we come back and revisit this conversation, it's going along the lines of the way it's playing out. Where the cast and crew told me they didn't want to be recast. And who are we hearing from the loudest?
Cast and crew.
But you know what though? Because was it the 5-minute conversation that Nate Moore had with Ryan Coogler, or was it the cast and crew telling Kevin Feige that it's not going to happen? Like, you know what I'm saying? Who's telling me what really happened? The only thing that I know is that
he only talked to somebody. He only talked to somebody. If you and I apologize for interrupting you. If you add up that article, well, I wanted to recast as soon as I found out he had passed, but the cast and crew told me not to. Then you go to what he said on December 10th. Out of respect to Chadwick Boseman and out of respect, we've decided. Okay, so that means you didn't do this on your own. Then you fast forward to what Nate Moore talked. Well, you can add, watch this. You can add Anthony Mackie's statement in there because he said it wouldn't be fair to recast nobody. That's part of the cast. Then you go down to Nate Moore and he said the only person he spoke to was Nate Moore. He didn't talk to nobody else. He and Nate Moore made that decision, not in an hour, in a matter of minutes. So this put together too easily like a puzzle. You made this decision.
Here's what I'm getting at though, because I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters who came up with this idea not to recast, because if you cared about Chadwick Boseman the way that you telling me you did, if that man was so close to you, I should not know more about Chadwick Boseman from watching 17 YouTube videos than you do, and you work with the man for 5 years. I know Chadwick Boseman wanted more Black actors in major roles, not less. I know that in Black Panther 2, if anything, he would have wanted more Black characters, not to retire the most historic character in the entire franchise. The one with the most history, the one that actually drives the story. If I know that, then his friend should know that as well. His friend should know that the last thing he would want to do is, by virtue of his death, retire a leading role in the MCU.
I'm trying to think, did I read somewhere that he actually wanted Killmonger to live at the end of the movie? Like he didn't want Killmonger to be killed off at the end of the movie. Am I crazy?
I don't think I've heard that one.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one.
Okay, never mind.
To respond to your original question, I feel like Ryan Coogler and Nate Moore came to Kevin Feige and told Kevin Feige, this is what we want to do. And Kevin Feige said, all right, that's on y'all. If that's what y'all want to do, I'm going to back up. And that is why you ain't heard Jack from Kevin Feige, because Kevin Feige is waiting for that shit to crash and burn so he can say, I told Nate Moore and I told Ryan Coogler that this probably wouldn't be a good course of action, but they decided that they wanted to do this anyway, so I let them do it.
Now that reads to me more than the BS that they've been feeding us, because what do you got? You have a very young director in Ryan Coogler. And as much as I want to see this brother succeed, and I've supported every project he's put out, the scope of his storytelling is still so limited. Mm-hmm. It's still so limited. It's like
Stop killing everybody. Stop making everything tragic.
Yep.
It's like Can you tell me a story that makes me feel empowered, that makes me feel uplifted, that makes me feel like I'm larger than life? Not like my life boils down to the attitude of some racist cop somewhere, or some jealous family member,
or black on black crime.
An abandoning father, or a neglectful mother, or something where someone key or beloved has to die. Can you tell me a happy story?
That was my challenge. Because I mean, when we look at, okay, Marvel, Ryan Coogler, Hottest Greatness, Michael B. Jordan, Mr. Sexy. It's a lot that we, as people that want to see T'Challa recast are up against, because they're for lack of better terminology, and yes, the pun is intended. They are the adored ones. They are. Fans love them. There ain't really nothing we can say about them. We telling the truth, but nobody wants to hear it. Marcus, you raised, everybody on this panel has raised some interesting questions, but I'm like, D, it's gonna fail for no other reason. Well, I'm not gonna say it's gonna fail. It ain't gonna make the money that they thought, because some of us not going to go see it just off the rip. We're not gonna see it. We're not gonna review it. My problem is this.
At least 50,000.
My problem is this. And this is, watch this. Watch this. You ready? Can I? My grandparents always told me, because I was raised by them after my mama passed away a month before my 14th birthday. They used to say, Gerald, you can't burn the candle at both ends. That's what they used to tell me. So we doing what we can. We are. But I ain't on no fence with this one.
And that's ultimately all we can do.
Right.
What my mama used to say to me is, the most that you can do is the best that you can.
Right.
So
what you doing when you sitting on the fence, if this movie get released, you finna go do what?
Have some splinters in your butt from sitting on the fence.
You see what I just asked? You finna go do what? Because if the whole point is to drive home the fact that this was wrong, it shouldn't have been done. It's a travesty. It's blasphemy against us as a people, the superhero that many of us grew up loving. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna make our point known. How do you do this? You finna tell somebody you went to go see it? If you did, you finna recommend it? There's so many slippery slopes in regards to this. It's like, it's a movement we're supposed to be embracing, and we're saying recast T'Challa. Okay, to everybody that's right here with me, if they don't recast T'Challa, what we doing?
I can say for sure that if I see the first teaser trailer and I don't see any hints of the main character, I'm not going to see that. And ever since the announcement that they're not going to recast T'Challa, personally, for myself, I haven't been supporting Marvel movies in the theaters, because that's how you talk to people, especially in a capitalist society. If they want to hear you, you mess with their money.
Yep.
And I believe that all the people who are actual fans of the Black Panther franchise, the Black Panther comics, should speak with their money. And unfortunately, majority of us are not going to do that. And we are outnumbered because the fan base expands way more than our community. And they're way more, and they're on board. Majority of them are on board. So they're going to get the money regardless.
They're going to get some money.
I don't think it has a shot of making, the billion. It's just, like I said, it was going to be a uphill battle for that in general. But in terms of supporting the film financially, I think I've read enough. I think we've gotten enough to know that he's not going to be there. And that's enough for me to not support it financially either. Now, I am of the thinking, I'm not going to see it. Am I going to go around and advocate for other people not to see it? I'm going to leave that up for y'all to decide whether or not you want to go see it. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to give my dollar to it because I know what I want to see, right? I know what's acceptable representation for me. I do also struggle with the idea that if this film tanks, the potential ramifications of that are not good.
And that's why
Ryan Coogler is slated to be the. I'm gonna give it to you in a second because I'm actually about to get out of here, so I'm gonna leave y'all with this.
Before you do, drop your email in the comments so I can shoot the raw footage to you.
For sure, I sure will. I'm other thinking that if this film tanks, not only will we probably not see a Black Panther 3, that Wakanda series that Ryan Coogler is tapped for, well, maybe that one gets the bucket gets kicked down the road to the next phase. I mean, we've already seen what's happening. Let's start with Ironheart. Ironheart was supposed to have her own show to introduce her. She's being introduced in Wakanda forever. Armored Wars delayed, right? Armored Wars was supposed to come out before Secret Invasion, delayed, right? We got Falcon and the Winter Soldier was a so-so property, I'll say. Some people really liked it, others didn't. I was kind of in the middle. I felt like it was a lot more that could have been done with that. But my point is, if Black Panther does not just fails, because I believe it will fail by the standards that the first movie set, but if it bombs, the kind of ripple effect that will have on Black properties and throughout Marvel in general. You're talking about a property that took about 20 some odd years to get on screen in the first, really 60 if you're talking from his inception, right? But if we just talking about where it was realistically feasible to see a character like that on screen, we're talking about 20, 25-ish years here. It took them that long to get the amount of courage to make the type of movie that they made, right? And that's all with the ideas that Black films or films like that with Black leads or mostly Black cast, Black production cannot be profitable. So if you prove it right, that's a slippery slope for me. If you prove them right in the sense that Black films are not financially viable, that is a much bigger shot than it not being critically acclaimed, right? Like critical acclaim, they'll take some shots on the chin for that, especially in a Marvel movie. Every Marvel movie has not been rated, high as hell. It makes a lot of money because the characters are popular and we shell out money for characters that we like. But every movie ain't out there getting Oscar nominations. If it fails financially, that's not a good thing for the Black properties in Marvel altogether.
That's why I believe it's important. That's why I really wanted us to come together tonight to take control of the narrative. I feel like we're being set up to where it fails, that narrative is going to be pushed that, we can make that movie. No, the narrative needs to be, no, this movie failed because you killed off the lead character. Let's not get this twisted. We're not going to make this about anything else. And that's why I'm like, seeing the way the landscape is forming, more of us need to be saying, if it fails, it failed because you didn't put T'Challa in it. It didn't fail because of no other reason. That was the reason right there.
We've said it a bunch of times before, but it beggars saying again, never in the history of cinema has there been a movie where you take the protagonist out and say, everybody else carry the movie. And you're just making it up on the fly. You're making it up as you go. I could see it if you sat down and said, we're taking the protagonist out of the movie, and this is what we want to do. In 5 minutes or less, or however many minutes it was, you decided you were taking the protagonist out, and then you changed the narrative. Maybe more? Them just the ones we know about? You might have changed it more than that. So to me, that says you don't have a stable foundation for that movie. And just like everybody else said here, it's going to do numbers, but it's not going to do 2018 Black Panther numbers. It's not going to do, be lucky to do Thor Dark World numbers.
Hey, y'all, I got a scoop. I appreciate everybody. Theo, Be Real, Kaizoku.
For sure.
Appreciate y'all, man, for having me on, for sure, man.
Okay. Well, bruh, we got to get together. We got to get together and do this again sometime. For sure.
Anytime, man. I dropped my email in there. I don't know if Josh dropped the podcast one, but we'll get it to y'all. Hit us up anytime, man. We'd love to work.
No doubt.
Show, man. Appreciate you.
Stay up.
Yeah, I'll say this too because I got to bounce as well. First and foremost, there would be no Wakanda in the MCU if T'Challa was not introduced in Civil War. T'Challa is the inception of Black Panther in the first place. Why would you take that away from the core of a franchise that made you so much money and garnered so much attention to your series? Because let's talk about it. MCU is a series of movies that are all connected. Now you're going to have the main character in one part of that series that's supposed to have a story fleshed out, like Captain America, like Tony Stark, the Iron Man, like Thor, who's now going to get a fourth movie, right? Yep. You're gonna take him out because a person died, and it's not anything of the sort that we're dismissing that somebody lost their life. You're telling a story. The story has to continue, and if you don't continue the story, you're doomed to fail. And unfortunately, a lot of people are running with the narrative because a lot of people don't really think for themselves. And they just run with whatever they've given because, we never had comic book movies before. They're doing it now, so we might as well just take it. No, that's not how things work. You are the consumer. They're buying for your attention and your dollars. If you say, no, we don't want that, they're going to be like, all right, so let's see what we can do so we can get that money. But unfortunately, people don't see it that way. They think whatever Marvel does is what we're going to get. No, they're doing it because they see what you react to. And the fact that a lot of us in the Recast T'Challa movement are saying, hey, look at this. Just be real about the situation. Is this going to work without the core character? And a lot of people are doing 2-minute Google searches and seeing one thing of his sister taking the mantle for maybe 10 issues and think, we can continue without it. And then you're going to do misdirection by putting a character that's always been his adversary and never seen to be in line with him in a mind state and worships a different deity, right? To take his mantle when he has to forsake his traditional goals in order to fulfill yours as the consumer. No, that's not going to work. I'm sorry.
There's so many things historically wrong with that as a country when it comes to America. It's ridiculous.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like I said, for myself personally, I'm not supporting Marvel movies in the theaters. I'm not helping them make money until they decide to understand that T'Challa is important. And this is not for anybody to follow me. I'm not asking anybody else to take on what I'm doing. Personally, for me, as somebody who's a fan of comics and a fan of the character T'Challa, I don't like where this is going. So I'm not going to support it. And I'm not going to support the company that decides that what I see and what I know and that they know to be true, they're going to go besides that.
I'm going to piggyback off of Kaizo. A company that says the only way they want to make money is for you not to see this character on the screen. Let's be clear. It's another wave of Black Panther action figures being released this year. That's going to be wave number 3. The Hattutsadaze is going to be part of one of those action figures. And M'Baku won't be a builder figure. He'll actually be a regular figure. So they still gonna make money on the action figure. They drop another Avengers cartoon, he's still gonna be in it. Hell, they got a preschool Spider-Man cartoon right now, and T'Challa is in it. Are we not doing a new volume of Black Panther comic books right now, and Black Panther is in it? Just as Kaizo stated, you're an intelligent person. You got to start asking yourself some questions. Why is it this character can be everywhere else and make money except on the big screen? Nobody wants to answer that question. You, as a consumer, you're not even asking, well, why y'all don't wait? You can put him everywhere else. Why I can't see him on the big screen? That common sense question ain't permeating through people's minds. Damnedest thing to me. Damnedest thing.
Word. So on that note, fellas, thank y'all for having me, man. Well, we gotta do this again. And of course, man.
Definitely, man. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your insight. I appreciate how you get down, man. You are always welcome in these here parts, sir.
Yes, sir. And keep me knowledge because like I said, I like to go to the channel. I like to go to
yeah. I truly appreciate y'all, man. And like I said before, man, I gotta give y'all flowers for carrying on and being consistent of bringing the message of recasting T'Challa since last year.
Thank you.
So on that note, man, fellas, we'll chop it up soon. I'm gonna holla at y'all, man.
All right.
Peace.
Well, Theo, it's just me and you, bro.
Yeah, man, it's about that time. Whoop.
It is about that time.
It's about that time. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Looking at my Gucci.
Whooping everybody. It's about that time.
Looking at my Gucci. All right, yo, look here, man. Theo, I appreciate you, bro. Always appreciate you all the time. Always, man.
Yeah.
Keep
you
doing
already
what
got my
you
email
do.
address too.
What's up?
You already got my email address.
Yes, I do. Keep doing what you do, bro. Everybody else, I hope y'all enjoyed this live. I enjoyed the hell out of it. And we got to do this again real soon.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Absolutely. Thank y'all for showing up, showing out, supporting us and everything like this. We couldn't do this without y'all. Daryl and I, we're going to bring y'all more of this and everything like this. We're going to keep the movement going. And y'all make sure y'all check it out, channels. Check him out. Be Real with D-Real. He is over there always dropping knowledge. And it's not just about Marvel or DC related content. It is about comic book content, superhero content, science fiction content, point blank period. And he'll bush upside the head with some social awareness issues every now and then. So that's what he got going on. Me, Recast T'Challa. I ain't saying, I'm just saying.
All right. And with that, we gonna make like balls and bounce, man. We catch you on our pages. I ain't saying, I'm just saying. Theo B, Be Real with D-Real, coming at you with another one of them other ones. And until we do, yo, y'all be good.